Hello, Facebook friends. This is Melanie Brown coming to you on Make a Difference Monday. And wow, July is almost gone and August is right around the corner. And so I just want to extend a special invitation to all of you to come join us at the Women Ignited by Faith event on September 12th. And when you come, you will receive a special gift. Everybody likes to receive a gift. Well, this is a gift of greatness that only you can open and only you can live out. Because we all know what we are today is a gift from God. And what we make of ourselves and how we live out our life is our gift back to God. And right now, in the season of life that we're in, we don't always have that vision. It's been a little muddied. That vision is a little cloudy for us right now because we don't know. We don't really know what tomorrow was going to bring. But really, that's the way it always is. We don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, so we want to live it up each and every day, because that's about trusting in God and trusting that the best is yet to come. So when you receive this gift, when you come to the Women Ignited by Faith event, we're going to do a lot of things with it. It's a book that I wrote called The Legacy of Greatness, and it's about my family, how I grew up and what happened within our family. And some of you may not know this, but my father came from a family of 16 children. 16 children. And he was the second to the oldest. And so he was the oldest son, but he had an older sister. And so when they had the 16th child, that youngest was the favorite, so he said. But he always loved to tell stories about my father. And one of the stories that I'll never forget is he was doing a little skit at an event we had here in Sioux Falls. And he was talking about pulling all of these things out of your briefcase that you need for your next leadership meeting or your sales meeting. And this particular item he pulled out was a hand calculator. And it was truly a hand with the calculator on the hand. And then he said, Vince, who was my father, he is the only one that can use his hand calculator to do fractions. Because he had a half here and a third there, because my father had his fingers cut off when he was very young because he stuck them in a motor to see if it would hurt. So he was always teased about being able to do fractions on his hand calculator. So you can imagine the kind of stories that come up in this book called The Legacy of Greatness. But it's a gift that keeps on giving. And how does that happen? When we think of gifts, we think of something that we can open and say, wow, look at what I had. Thank you so much. You shouldn't have done that, right? A special gift that someone gives you. But this gift is much greater than a gift that you can open, because it's a gift from within. How many of you have ever had someone give you a compliment that you'll never forget? That's happened to me many times, but there's one in particular that I'll always remember because it came from my father, whom this book is all about, him and our family. I was doing an event with my father, and it was a leadership event. So I kind of dressed up, right? And I wore this purple shirt. Way back then, it was in 1989, or excuse me, 1998. So it's been a few years ago. But if you see this shirt is purple. And when I walked in where my father was, he said, "Whoa, that's pretty snazzy." Now, I took that as a huge compliment because my father was a great man. But when he spoke words, I always listened. And to this day, I truly believe that that was where my love for purple came from, is that compliment that, whoa, that's pretty snazzy. And so when we think of gifts, as it says in this book, don't ever pass up a moment to compliment someone, because a compliment is something that keeps on giving, because words have true meaning, and words that are spoken very sincere are engraved in our hearts forever. Just like those words that my father spoke to me back in 1998. They still ring in my ears today. And this is a month that I always will celebrate because it's the month that my father went to heaven. And when I think back at who he was and what he did, that's where my attitude came from. My father didn't have 16 children, but he had 6. And he was the leader, and my mother was the silent partner in the back of the room. And as a leader, he knew everybody, and he wanted to meet you if you were someone that was in the room that he didn't know, because he would always say, "You're a friend that I just haven't met." So when we think of all the gifts that we get in life, all of the gifts that are waiting for us to open, the best gift is maybe that person that you've not met yet, whom you may consider a stranger, but it's really a friend that you haven't met yet. So my father wanted to meet everyone that he could see. He wanted to meet you and know who you are. He also never cussed. He never said a swear word. Can you believe it? Not once did I ever hear him say a cuss word. And he taught us from as little as we were. As long as I can remember, he always said, "You wake up in the morning and be grateful. And when you walk down the stairway," which was, we all had our bedrooms upstairs, "when you come down the stairway for breakfast, you make sure you're wearing a smile." And that's where I learned that attitude is the most important gift that you can ever wear. As we pick out our clothes every morning, the most important gift that we should pick out is that smile. If we don't wear a smile, if we don't choose to make today a great day, it's never going to be a gift that we can pass on to anyone, is it? So when I think of Women Ignited by Faith, I go back to my father, and the powerful gift that he gave me is a powerful gift that I want to give back to you. So the last thing I want to leave you with is the faith part. My dad was a farmer, and as I told you, he cut off his fingers. So he only had a half a finger here, and a third of this one was gone. So he had rugged hands. He had the hands of a farmer and a working farmer that believed when you planted seeds of greatness, no matter if those seeds of greatness are out in your field or in the field of someone's mind, those seeds of greatness would grow to become something really powerful. That was a part of his legacy. And with that, he had that mustard seed of faith. He learned at a very young age that he could rely on no one or nothing, because he wanted to buy his father's farm. And he went when he had young children and asked the banker if he could borrow Dad the money for this farm. And now, please forgive me, nothing against bankers, because I love my banker dearly. But at this time, that banker said, "I'm sorry, but we cannot do that. You are much too young." And so my father got up and shook his hand and said, "Thank you. I will find my own way." And indeed he did, because that made him more determined than he could ever be before. And you know what? Determination, perseverance, and faith are the best gifts that you can give yourself, especially in times like this, when things are not perfect in our life, when all these changes and challenges are coming against us. We have to stand strong in our faith. And a mustard seed of faith isn't very big. But because of his strong faith, he grew that mustard seed of faith into a tall, tall legacy of greatness. He met a woman early in 1999. She was from Lima, Peru, and her name was Lillian Mayo. She came to Kansas City State to talk to people about autistic children. And she was building this hospital, and she wanted to find investors to help her build this hospital in Lima, Peru, because she could not do it on her own. So while she was in Kansas, she told people that she was looking for investors. And a gentleman that was sitting in the room was from a family that his brother knew the Spaders from Oldham, South Dakota. So she came from Lima, Peru to Kansas City. A gentleman in the room knew his brother that worked in Omaha, Nebraska, that knew the Spaders in Oldham, South Dakota. And God linked all of those people together. And someone called my father and asked him if he would like to meet this young lady, because she had this powerful dream, but she was looking for people that would help her build her dream. And of course, my father said, "Yes, I would be honored, but I would love to meet her in person before I make a decision." So the gentleman from Kansas drove her to Omaha, Nebraska, and from Omaha, Nebraska, he drove her to Oldham, South Dakota, where she met in my parents' dining room table and shared her powerful story. And the rest is history. My parents fell in love with her dream. They offered to help. And today, if you go to Lima, Peru, you want to look up Lillian Mayo, because she has built a wonderful palace for autistic children to come and learn their gifts. She never calls them children with disabilities. She calls them her children with different abilities. And her job is to find their gift that they're very good at and help them discover it and open it and live it out, so they too can help give back to their families. So tonight, I really want you to think about a lot of things. My father's anniversary of going to heaven was this month. And unfortunately, we had no time to say goodbye to him because he passed away from a heat stroke. But I'll always remember him saying, "If you ever find me down, don't try to save me. I'll be happy to meet my Lord and Savior in heaven." And that's exactly how he went. Very peaceful. No one was around. And he went to heaven on his own accord. And so The gifts he left behind are priceless. And these are the gifts that have carried on a legacy that's lasted forever in this family. And in Lima, Peru, his legacy will live on through all of those children that he never got to meet. But I know he's shining down every day on that beautiful school and hospital that Lillian built in Lima, Peru. And he will shine on it forever because of a decision he made to open his gift and share it with the world. So I just want to invite all of you again to come to the Women Ignited by Faith event on September 12th, because we too, all of the speakers that you will hear from, we will be sharing with you how you can use your talents and abilities that not even you know about. Nobody truly knows the dream that God put in their heart until he pulls it out of us. He inspires us. He empowers us to live to our full potential. And we never can see it all up front. We always say, okay, God, show it to us. We want to see the whole picture. And then we'll go for it. But no, all he asks us to do is to trust in him, because we all know he has great plans for our future. And the best thing we can do is to believe the best is yet to come. So come join us on September 12th. We want to empower you to be more faithful, grateful, and live a more purposeful life. And that day, we will not only help ignite your faith, but we will help you open that gift that's within all of us, so that you too can live out a powerful legacy of greatness. And then we will all celebrate by saying, thank you, God. Woo! It's going to be an awesome day. I hope you can join us. Bye-bye.